Hello, everyone, and I have to move this guy down here. Anyway, so hello, everyone, and welcome to a video on Resident Evil 4 Remake. Now, I've done a few of these before, but I'm going to live stream it this time. And yeah, objectively, you can prove why Mark Kern is a scam artist. Just ontologically, there is no way to doubt it by doing the vertical slice of the game. Now, I'm going to use a new game on. We're going to do just a hardcore new game, right? And I'm going to guide you with what the content of a vertical slice is, because it's not that much, right? You can also download the chainsaw demo if you would rather just experience the vertical slice and not have the rest of the game after, right? So we've got this cutscene which introduces the bare basics of the story. This is just... This one, it wasn't even in the vertical slice of the game, right? The vertical slice of Resident Evil 4 Remake is the chainsaw demo, right? So there's a few things, of course, in the chainsaw demo that kind of represent, weapon upgrades, different weapons you can get and stuff that aren't in the actual game's intro, right? So, right, and then we have that initial cutscene. So we have this cutscene was in there, right? This cutscene, and then we have, of course, the initial cutscene with the guys, right? And then we start the game, right? So I'm going to show you, right, objectively how bad this is, all right? So, like, we're going to do this from here, right, all the way to the end of the vertical slice. And we're going to prove, like, just objectively, what the issue is with Ember, right? And why I do not have any quarrel calling it a scam. It has to. Oh, let's turn off the controller. It's just vibrating. But yeah, so we have the initial cutscene just to set up a bit of the story, right? This is not necessarily needed. This depends on how the story will be told in the game, right? So I don't really think he needs a fully animated and voice-acted cutscene for Ember, right? I don't even really think that really improves a game, really. It's just like a story, but you don't really need story. Yeah, the outfit I have on, right, obviously also isn't in the initial game. So, I mean, in the initial demo. So we're only really focused on a few things, right? We're not going to be using any deluxe weapons. We're not going to be doing past the demo. It is just what the amount of content Grummz needs and why it's pathetic he hasn't reached it yet, okay? Because what he needs, right, is two things. One, a actual, like, introductory, like, demo level that sets up the thematics and gameplay element of the game, right? So the story thematics, the lore thematics, and especially the gameplay thematics of the game, right? Now, with Resident Evil 4, this is a pretty simple example, right? So we're going to explore all of it, right? We're going to explore every little bit of it. So the cutscenes that we have, right, up until the end of the of where the demo would be. Now I'm using the main game just because I have the main game installed, and I'd rather use that than the demo, right? So yeah. All right, so it's, asking questions in Spanish. Getting no real answers. And yep. So there we go, right? That's part of it, right? We've got the cutscenes. And these cutscenes go on a little long just to set up the mood. But here we go, right? We're actually getting the game. As soon as we get out this car, we're good, G. Okay?
What's the car? Wouldn't want to get a parking ticket. So much for helping me.
Alright, so here we go. There. I'm going to explore every little nook and cranny you can, just so we're really setting it up. So first off, you can obviously go back to the car, and explore these little bushes, tree branches, broken trees, rocks, fences, right? And we have a bunch of environmental assets, right? Little vines as well, bushes. You get the idea. Little metal containers a boot. In here, we can't go inside there, but there is a building there. We have this sign we can look at, right? We have little obstacles in the way just to show that sometimes we'll have to avoid the beaten path, right? So it's telling you basically what to expect in the game, right, from the beginning. So we go through here, right, and we get little tutorial prompts on how to use the controls. These aren't necessarily needed in a vertical slice, yeah. So there we have that, right? A little thing to examine, right? And now we have, we duck under this, so it shows that we can duck under obstacles. We don't really have to worry about the tutorial. I've done it before, but yeah, we've got, a decent environment here, right? Set up all that. Yeah, right. And we've got a bunch of barrels and trash and clutter, right? This is a horror game, so obviously, it's going to be a bit more cluttery and stuff, right? Just kind of how things are, right? So there. So now we're going to open up the door. And this will set up that, we can open up doors. That's basically what that sets up ultimately. So let's go through here, right? Got a little note, and we can turn it around to see some Spanish text which says judgment is nigh. And ultimately, that's effectively all we have there, right? So that's that note. Now we'll go over here. We have a locked door. It tells us we need keys, right? So, where do we get the key? Well, there's another door, so we'll open that up and we'll have another cutscene, right? Now, again, he doesn't need to make cutscenes, right? This is all more of just exploring, what a vertical slice, aka what Grummz needs to do for Ember is. He doesn't need to finish the game. I think anyone who is thinking that an MMO can be finished on $600,000 is mentally retarded. I don't think anyone's thinking that. That's not why I'm calling Grummz a scam artist. I'm calling him out because he hasn't produced 8 years of content, right? For me, it's not that he hasn't finished the game, it's that he hasn't even finished the vertical slice yet, right? But I'm showing you how little is actually a vertical slice to be more fair, to the thing, right? Yeah, we got that guy. And so that shows us that enemies will attack us in the cutscenes. Fairly simple stuff. Get the key, right? And we can examine the key, right? So we can also look at the inventory to see things like that, right? So we got that. We can also look at our handgun, right? I believe if we Yeah, we can look at the slide, holster, all that, right? You know, the knife again, you know, and you know the other item here, you know, first aid spray, right? You can also look at our map, and you know the other menus, right, of things we have. You can also look at all the files we have, right? So our mission briefer, right? And that has text, and this has text, right? And you might be wondering why I'm going about it like this. That's the point, right? I'm exploring everything that you have. So we have a bunch of disgusting clutter, a bunch of bullshit, and this, you know, police badge, right? This were all in the demo. So we're going to do that, right? This is just showing you guys what a vertical slice contains. Because it's pretty pathetic how Mark Kern hasn't done this, right? Not like Resident Evil 4 Remake, but like the content of a vertical slice is not something he has gotten yet. He hasn't finished one yet, all right? So I'm just demonstrating what one of those would be, all right? So we're hearing the little radio, right?
I read you. What's your situation? What the hell's going on?
You can examine him again, not that it really does much. And we'll check out, you know, the next set of files, right? Okay. We're down here. Got very little to interact with.
What was that?
And we got our first enemy. Now we can take him out, which is usually what people do in their first playthrough. I didn't, but you can. Right, so there we go. Took him out, took a few shots there. Right, now we're going to do this part. So we've got two enemies here, right? So we're gonna kill both of them just to demonstrate that as well. Mm-hmm. Come on. There, right? So we've got those two, our little green herb. So this is like, you know, kind of, you know, setting it up, right? We've got all that, and now a little bit more, right? We're almost to the end of the vertical slice, right? We've got two more segments left to go. And this is like really what I mean, like by how pathetic it is that Mark Kern hasn't been able to do this. Now, I'm showing you basically everything, but really, realistically, a player would not see all of this, right? But it's more of a point of showing you, like, you know, what it has kind of to offer and stuff, right? So we have little scenes in the game engine. Like, I forget where the exact coordinates of this is, but like there's a little bit in the map itself for these cutscenes as well. So for example, this cutscene right here, you can find it in certain parts of the map and stuff, right?
My escorts are. Gotta go. Talk later.
And that's basically just to load it in so that the cutscene plays more seamlessly, by the way. Like, they preload it, effectively. And that's what preloading effectively is. It's to avoid having too many loading screens. They kind of just load as much as they can at once to stream it all in for you. There we go. We have all that, right? Now, in the New Game Plus, there's even a merchant here, but again, that's not in the demo. You don't get that in the demo. So, now we have all these trees, all these rocks, and a little rickety bridge. We can go around it, and we face a crow. So let's kill this crow. And there we go. All right, we got that. Gunpowder. All right, now we cannot save in the demo, so we're not going to. Just a little FYI. You can't save in the demo. So, I'm gonna collect our little gunpowder. Sweet. Yeah, we can look at the inventory quick switch, and there we go there. Kill those 2 crows, and there's a third one we actually could have killed too. I just didn't realize that. So anyway, we missed a crow. But otherwise, things are going relatively how you would expect them to in a run like this. So we're going to rake this box. And there's 3 enemies here, so... Oh! You can stab me, but... There we go. That's... Right. Those 2 are dead, and we've got a little trap here. Right. And again, these are just, it shows you the mechanics. We've got traps that you can step on by accident. We've got an enemy here. I'm gonna... Alright. There we go. We got little items to heal as well. And we can reload a little past, our little health, right? Now let's open this door. Alright. So this is the last area of the Resident Evil 4 vertical slice. You can examine this guy's dead body. They'll kill him. And yeah, we've got this little cabin here. And did we get spotted? No, yeah, we got spotted. Okay. And if we go in here, he'll pop out. Get grabbed and defend ourselves there and heal up. Right, so now we have to kill a bunch of enemies. So, let's do that. Let's also summon this chainsaw man early. And to do that, we go over here, right? So, kind of the thing. We just interact, with the content kind of as it is, right? So we spawned him, right? Oh, fuck. So I threw that, and it was a little faster than that. It's okay. Alright, so we continue, right? We'll continue at, I believe, at the village point. I think, I'm on hardcore, right? Yeah, okay, I'm on hardcore. So I got my little body fucked up, but otherwise, I'm Gucci. So now, I'm gonna do this way, right? Gonna... heal up. Stab him. Alright, we've got resources and a ruby. Okay, so, occasionally you can get money. So that's like what that represents. Alright. There we go. Let's get our ammo here again. Can skip it this time, and we'll just straight up throw this. And let him run around. And we'll go in here and get ourselves a grenade. And that's not the grenade, but it's okay. Go in here, that'll set up the cow. Nope. Get grabbed on the back twice. Okay. Oh shit. Okay, that was my bad. Now, in reality, I shouldn't be summoning the Chainsaw Man, but I just want to show you that you can, in fact, kill him twice. So I've got to formulate a strategy on that. I always do, so. I usually just, I kind of get into noob mode after not playing this for a while, but anyway, showing that you can die, probably is a good way to, introduce it anyway. So. Again, let's just introduce that guy. Chickens attack, okay. A little handgun ammo there. Gunpowder. There. Let's go in here. And over there. Okay, there we go. That should be more than enough, but we'll get this red herb and these boxes. This box too. Little resource. There we go. All right. So let's get this last bit of ammo, and here we go. All right. Let's just kill this first chainsaw man. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and
Here you go.
and it's gonna break our knife, but it'll allow us. Oh shit. It's more health than I remember. Alright, well. It's okay. I don't know why he seems to have more health than I remember, but it's okay. Yeah, continue. Right. Ultimately, I could just, you know, cheese this segment. I'm choosing deliberately not to. Just to say, I showed you all the content. But you know what? I'll just cheese it. Right. So go in here, grab this. Right.
Here we go.
It's one enemy. It's two enemy, right? Okay. Okay, so we'll grab this and throw it in their crowd. 1, 2. Okay, so that guy spawned. That's a good way to say we can just do this, right? We're gonna go in here, right? And this will be the end of it, right? As soon as we kill a few guys here, right? We're gonna kill the chainsaw man with the shotgun at least. We gotta kill at least one of the fucking 2 potential encounters, you know? But other than that, as soon as we do that, it's gonna be over. And that's really the entirety of the demo, just so you know. So the entirety of the demo is just those few things, alright? It's gonna come in. grab our shotgun and our shotgun shells. There we go. Go through there, and let's just get there. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now we'll right, and there we go. That's dead. And there we go. So this is the entire vertical slice that Mark Kern has to make effectively, right? So does that sound like it takes 8 years to make? Well, it doesn't. To put this into perspective, right? Capcom had this finished about 2 years before finishing this game, and the remake took about 4 years to make, right? It took about 2 years for this entire vertical slice. However, right, that's if you talk about it in production. However, it wasn't even really announced in an actual production until the demo was made, right? So they actually finished their vertical slice before they even asked for any funding, right? Because that's how you actually go about it. So Mark Kern is asking for funding for the vertical slice, which is effectively this little bit of content that he still hasn't made. And then he's going to be asking for more funding for the actual game once he finishes that, if he ever finishes it. But the problem is, it's been 8.5 going on 9 years, and he still hasn't finished this little bit of content. No matter who you are, you can finish this in a couple years, right? Like this, and the equivalent for him as well. And that's ultimately a point I think needs to be made. And there's a little message here from Hunnigan, but that's not actually part of the original demo or quote vertical slice. So that's it, right? That's all he has to actually make. And I think the fact that he hasn't made that yet is really fucking annoying, right? That's really what it comes down to. It's like, yeah, he needs to fucking finish that, because it's not even, so it's not even that it's a scam. That's already kind of beyond proven, right? Also, there's an herb here. Now, in the demo, right, because you go down here regardless, but in the demo you can go down here by deleting all your inventory. One, you can't do that in this game, which, I mean, thank God, in the actual game, but also, the TMP won't be down there, and you won't even be able to get down there if you try. So just so you know. Now, thankfully, all the items that you have like this, you send to storage, this you send to storage, this you send to storage. So the only thing you can discard really is ammo and stuff. So you always technically have them back, but yeah. Yeah, we'll open this up just to force him dead. There we go. Right. And that was effectively 20 minutes of content. That's all he has to make effectively for the demo. Because remember, it's the demo he has to finish. It's not the entire game. I don't think anyone's expecting an entire MMO from a small team, right? To be fair, he shouldn't be saying he's going to be making an MMO with such a small team. But I don't think anyone's expecting that. What we are expecting, though, is a competent vertical slice, right? Because, the problems with MMOs that require a lot of people are mostly like server-side management and all that, making sure it's optimal for, you get the idea, right? That's why I'm not really critical on the graphics. I think it's a way to joke it. Like, I think most people are using the fact that he called the Starfield menu a reason to doubt the quality of the game. I think that's the reason most people are pointing out the ugly character models as this is a sorry state of the game. And Grummz is saying that any sorry state of the game is an example of a poor full product, which sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't, right? Like, I mean, people even called him out on the fact that some of his favorite games have menus that are even more minimalistic, and he's like, well, that doesn't count because I like these games. I'm like, well, yeah, that's the point. That's why they were calling you out. And that's it's the same thing with like the graphic stuff, right? It's a way to call him out, and it turns out a lot of people either enjoyed Starfield or just found his criticism of it to be pretty stupid. I'm not in that camp. I actually find his criticism, was kind of valid. But, like, what really matters is not whether I agree or disagree with Grummz on certain topics anyway. Like, who the fuck cares? I can agree with him on some things and disagree with him on others. It doesn't really matter. What matters, however, is that he stole money. And yes, this is the entire demo. Just so you know, we finished it. All right, technically there's the Mad Chainsaw Man thing, and that's it. But that's about it. So, now that we know that how pathetic Grummz's little grift is, thank you for watching this video and learning a bit on really why it's so bad that he hasn't finished his vertical slice yet in 8 years. Anyway, see ya.